The Retribution of Scyrah force consists of Kaelyssa, Knights, Whisper. Her battle group consists of a Phoenix and the Discordia. There is also a full unit of Dawnguard Sentinels with standard unit attachment and a Soulless Escort weapon attachment. There are 2 Arcanist solos, 2 Mage Hunter Assassin solos, Stylish Wyshnalyrr the Seeker, and Lanyssa Ryssyll, a minion character solo. The Khadoran force is led by the Butcher of Khardov. His battle group consists of a War Dog, a Warcaster attachment, a Kodiak, and a Spriggan. There is also a full unit of Iron Fang Pikemen with a standard unit attachment, and the Iron Fang Kovnik solo. There is a full unit of Winterguard Rifle Corps, and Kovnik Jozef Grigorovich. We are playing the Steamroller 2013 scenario, Incursion. There are 3 40mm flags, one in the center of the table, the other 2 are 12 inches from the table edges and from the center flag. At the end of the second player's first turn, one of them randomly disappears. We roll off to see who goes first. Khador wins, and makes Retribution go first. The Retribution deploys in a nice clump thanks to the 7-inch deployment zone by going first. The Dawnguard Sentinels are grouped in 3s to make best use of defensive line. The Discordia is in front of Kaelyssa, and the Phoenix is to her left. The Arcanist Souls are behind them. Soulless Wyshnalyrr is to Kaelyssa's right, and Lanyssa Ryssyll is to her left. The Mage Hunter Assassins are advanced deploying. Khador deploys, spread out across the deployment zone. Butcher's in the center of the 2 infantry units, and the Spriggan is directly in front of him. The Winterguard Rifle Corps, along with Joe, are to his right. The War Dog is behind him, and the Iron Fang Pikemen are to his left, along with the Iron Fang Kovnik and the Kodiak. The Mage Hunter Assassins advance deploy to the flank on the right of the Retribution army. One's on the hill, one's on the ground. Retribution, turn 1. Retribution starts off the turn by allocating 1 to the Phoenix and 1 to the Discordia. The Mage Hunter on the hill activates and runs 9 inches. The other Mage Hunter activates and also runs 9. The Phoenix activates and runs his full 12 inches. And the Arcanist activates and runs behind. The Dawnguard Sentinels activate and run. They stay in their group of 3 to make use of defensive line. And then Discordia activates and runs in between all the groups. The Arcanist also activates and runs, and Kaelyssa casts Phantom Hunter, and then charges my Spriggan. This is so she can cast and also move more than just in advance. Lanyssa Ryssyll activates and runs, and Soulless Wyshnalyrr activates and runs. Khador, turn 1. Butcher allocates 1 focus to the Spriggan. The Kodiak activates first, and runs for free thanks to his heavy boiler through the forest in front of him, crashing through the trees. The Iron Fang Kovnik activates and advances, and does his special action Shield March on the Iron Fang Pikemen. and then the Iron Fang Pikemen activate under a shield wall order and advance 8 inches, thanks to the Iron Fang Kovnik's special action of Shield March. It gives them plus 2 inches of movement when they receive a shield wall order. The Spriggan then activates and runs. The Winter Guard Rifle Corps receive a suppressing fire order and advance. All of the models in the unit will contribute, and I am measuring range here to make sure that they're all in range and can see the point. Kovnik Jozef Grigorovich activates, and then does Courage of the Forefathers on the Rifle Corps, giving them fearless and tough. Then Butcher activates, advances, and then casts Iron Flesh on the Iron Fang Pikemen. Then he measures his control area, and then casts Fury on the Spriggan. The War Dog activates, advances behind Butcher. Since this is incursion, 1 or 2, 3 or 4, 5 or 6, one of the flags disappears, and the left one goes. Retribution, turn 2. Sylys Wyshnalyrr lets Kaelyssa upkeep Phantom Hunter for free. She then allocates 2 focus to the Phoenix, and then 1 focus to the Discordia. The Phoenix activates, and then advances 6 inches. He then fires his Halo Cannon at a Winter Guard Rifle Corps. It is a AoE 3, PAL 14, continuous fire damage attack. He boosts the hit and hits directly. The other 3 Winter Guard take a PAL 7 damage roll blast. The first one makes a tough roll and dies as he has armor 13. The second one takes a PAL 7 blast damage roll. Notice the first is still there, it's due to the camera, the way we recorded. And then, so the second one makes a tough roll and also dies. The third one takes a PAL 7 and survives. The last one takes a PAL 7 and stays alive with an exact roll of a 6. They are both set on fire. The Arcanist activates and advances. The Dawnguard Sentinels activate and move normally, staying in their group of 3 for defensive line. The Discordia activates and advances. He then spends 1 for his kinetic field, which allows all models within 3 inches of him to gain plus 2 armor, and they cannot suffer blast damage. The Arcanist behind him activates and advances behind him. Lanyssa Ryssyll activates and advances. Kaelyssa activates, advances. And then she pops her feet, which allows all models in her control area, friendly faction models that is, to gain stealth, and they cannot be charged. Then she casts Rift through the Phoenix, who has an arc node, and she targets the Spriggan. Unfortunately, Rift is out of range, so it deviates. It goes 3 inches. Looking at it now, it looks like we placed the AoE template a little too far forward. So it scatters onto 3 Iron Fangs. The first one is die -11. They're actually all die -11. So the first one stayed alive, the second one stays alive, and the third one almost dies. There's a piece of rough terrain below them, as Rift makes it. The Mage Hunter Assassin advances backwards, and the second one charges the Iron Fang Kovnik. The Mage Hunter Assassin has a 4-inch reach weapon on activation. She attacks, hits, it's a Pound 9 Weapon Master, and kills him outright. And then Soulless Wyshnalyrr advances. Khador, turn 2. In the maintenance phase, we check to see if the fire goes out, and it does not, on the first model. And Fearless and Tough also goes away at this time, so this Dawnguard just dies. And the second one, we check to see if it goes out, and it does not, and he just dies as well. Then Suppressing Fire goes away. Butcher gets all of his focus. And then upkeeps Iron Flesh, and also upkeeps Fury. He allocates none, and the Kodiak activates, turns around, and advances toward the Mage Hunter, and then uses a special action, Vent Steam. It's a PAL 12 AoE 3 centered on himself, and does 4 damage to the Mage Hunter, leaving her with 1. And then the Dawnguard Rifle Corps activate, and advance. Also doing the Suppressing Fire order, and advance just a little bit. In hindsight, they should have actually been firing normally instead. But the Dawnguard are armor 19 right now, so might not be worth it. So I just placed the template, and it's AoE 4 since they lost some dudes. Then Joe activates, walks behind the house, and does Courage of the Forefathers, giving them Fearless and Tough once again. And then the Spriggan activates. He marches up ever so slightly, and then uses one of his shoulder guns to fire a targeting flare. This removes stealth and allows things to ignore clouds, all this other good stuff. And then he uses his second shoulder to fire a grenade at the Mage Hunter. And I forget at this time that they cannot suffer blast damage. We replace the template here just to be ease of use, since we're using a 3-inch already for Rift of my opponents. So this of course misses at Rat 4 since she's defense 15. So it scatters to 4-5 inches in front of the Spriggan, making a nice big crater and doing nothing. And then the Iron Fangs activate into a 2-man combined melee attack and just kill her. Khador, bigger's better, unnecessary force, we like it. Then Butcher activates, advances up ever so slightly, and holds on to his focus. And then the Roar Dog activates, advances to his side, and Khador is done. Retribution, turn 3. Kaelyssa upkeeps Phantom Hunter for free, thanks to Soulless Wyshnalyrr. And then she allocates 2 focus to the Phoenix, and then 2 to the Scordia. And then Lanyssa Ryssyll activates and advances, and then does a special attack, Hunter's Mark. So if it hits, it allows Jacks and Beasts that are charging this target and they can do so for free, and also get plus 2 inches of movement when they charge. So the Phoenix charges the Spriggan for free, and then does a thermal blade attack. Does a critical hit, but it's continuous fire anyway, and is die -4 on the Spriggan, and does 9 damage to the 4. He buys another thermal blade attack, he hits, and then -4, but does no damage due to rolling double 2s, and then buys the last thermal blade attack, hits on the dot, and does 4 damage to the 6. The Warlance and Cortex are almost gone. The Arcanist activates, goes onto the flag, it's actually physical, be base. Then the Mage Hunter activates and charges an Iron Fang. She has Arcane Assassin and Chain Weapon, ignoring both Iron Flesh and Shield Wall, so this guy's gonna die. Hits on the 6 and hits, die -5, and just kills him outright. Overkill. Oh yeah. The Dawnguard Sentinels activate and receive a charge order. This one looks like he failed his charge, and he does, just barely. And then these three will charge the Spriggan, fully aware that they're taking the suppressing fire. And then the rest of them just run, since they cannot charge anything. And don't forget the Soulless Escort. So the first one takes a suppressing fire hit, and takes no damage at die -5. And then the second one, is killed, and then the last one almost dies, rolling an exact 5. So the first Iron Fang is being hit by the first Sentinel, needing 9s and misses, and the second one swings and hits, and is die -7 and kills him. And this one, we know he failed his charge, we just measured his melee range because he can do so at any time, so why not? And the first Sentinel will swing at the Spriggan, and hits, die -10, and does 6 damage to the 4, knocking out the War Lance and the Cortex. The second Sentinel swings at the Spriggan, and hits, die -10, and does 4 damage to the 2. The Scordia activates and advances to the center flag, and eats a suppressive fire POW 10, and takes no damage. He then sprays at the Wyshnalyrr, hits the Phoenix as well, hits him, and does no damage. So the first Wyshnalyrr is targeted, is hit, and then it's strong enough to beat his armor. He makes a tough roll, he stays alive. The second one is hit, and then he has to make a tough roll, and he dies. And the third one is hit, and then he has to make a tough roll, and he stays alive. Then Sylys Wyshnalyrr activates and moves, so does Kaelyssa. And then Kaelyssa has Phantom Hunter, so she's able to cast Rift, ignoring line of sight, and puts it on an Iron Fang, which misses him, so it deviates 2 to 2. 2 inches to the 2. And they all take POW 7s, and he stays alive. And now die -11, he's alive, die -11. Almost killed him. And there's the rough terrain for you. And the Arcanist activates and then advances behind Lanyssa. Scenario scores Retribution 2 to 0. Khador, turn 3. We check to see if the fire goes out on the Spriggan, and it does. And there it goes. And then Butcher gets all 6 focus. And he drops Iron Flesh. And then upkeeps Fury on the Spriggan. And this was a mistake. I forgot about the crippled Cortex on the Spriggan. And then Butcher casts Full Throttle. And then he charges the Phoenix. And right before he does his charge attack, as he resolved the move, he pops his feet. Then he swings. He is boosted from Full Throttle. Affects him. He's part of the battle group. And does a whopping 20 damage to 1. Knocks out the shield, the left arm, and then the Kodiak activates and then tramples for free from full throttle onto these 3 Dawnguard. And all of these melee attack rolls are boosted from full throttle. So the first one hits, and then it's an extra die from Butcher's feet and kills him. And then on the second one, also boosted, it hits him and kills him as well. These are all rolls at die -3 since the Kodiak is strength 12. Hits him. And kills the last Dawnguard. And then the Spriggan activates. And then he does a Warlance swing at the Phoenix, which hits. It's boosted because of full throttle, and does 6 damage to 2. Knocking out the movement. And I accidentally told him that he put down 2 more damage, which that's actually not the case. And then he does a shield attack on a Dawnguard Sentinel, which hits him, and I shouldn't have rolled the damage since it's POW strength 17, but I did so anyway. And then, remember, this wasn't supposed to happen. The Cortex was crippled on the Spriggan, although Butcher would have killed the Spriggan anyway. I would think so. It's Butcher. He gets extra attacks. You see? The Phoenix is down to 1. He would have died to Butcher. Wouldn't really have changed the game that much. And so the Phoenix is wrecked, and there's your blank base wreck marker. The Iron Fangs issue a charge order. And they have Relentless Charge from the standard unit attachment, so they're going through the wreck just fine. And also the Rift. Although it may look like that some of them don't have line of sight to their targets, and this was obviously illegal. Oh well. It's a friendly game, so we usually let things slide. So the first one swings at a Dawnguard Sentinel, needing a 6 to hit. And he misses! And then the officer is swinging through the shield, but not through over the base of the Spriggan. Hits him on a 5, and he does so exactly, and this just makes the Dawnguard Sentinel explode, since it's 4 dice, automatically killing him. And then another Iron Fang swings at the Sentinel, hits him, has to roll for damage since he's armor 17, rolling die -4 here, and kills him outright. Then another Iron Fang swings, hitting him on a 6. He hits, also rolling for damage here, and just destroys him. And then the last one swings, hits him, automatically killing him. And then there's a massive casualty roll, and he passes it just fine. The Winter Guard activate. Those 2 forfeit their movement to stand up, and the rest of them will advance. Although it looks like that Butcher's base is too big, he's able to move through because of the cloak. The cloak is overlapping the base, so it looks like it's more. So a rifle corps will fire at an Arcanist that's on the objective, which hits him actually, and then just blows him away. Then one fires at Discordia, and misses. Hits my own Iron Fang and kills him. And then I have a Rifle Corps fire at a Sentinel, which misses, hits my Kodiak, but the Kodiak takes no damage at die -10. Just lucky. And then one Rifle Corps can see Sylys Wyshnalyrr and hits him. Remember, they have ranked attacks, and just blows Sylys away. Then Joe hides some more, and then does Courage of the Forefathers. The dog moves. The scenario is Retribution 3-0. Retribution, turn 4. The Dawnguard Sentinels have Vengeance trigger in the maintenance phase, and I lost the free strike here. And then he tried to move out of the melee range of the Kodiak. I told him that he was doing so, and he didn't mean to, so I let him slide and move him back in. So he takes a swing at the Kodiak, die minus 10, and does 2 damage to 6. And then Kaelyssa dropped Phantom Hunter, and the Arcanist does his special action on Discordia, which gives him +2 to his melee damage rolls, and then does Hunter's Mark, misses on Butcher. And this was from Lanyssa. And then Kaelyssa tries to run to the flag. I get a free strike from the Iron Fang Pikemen, and roll not doubles, and do 1 damage to Kaelyssa because of all the focus. And then I actually get a free strike from here on the Standard Bearer, which hits and kills him. And the officer swings at an Iron Fang Pikeman and hits and kills him. And then the Soulless Escort swings at the Iron Fang Pikeman and hits him and actually kills him. And then a Sentinel swings at another Iron Fang, which misses. And then the Mage Hunter Assassin swings at the unit leader, hits, and kills him. And there's a field promotion. Not being very careful about models moving. And then they made a massive casualties check, and then Discordia is firing at the Winter Guard, just barely missing Butcher. See? Barely missing. He has shaky hand, but he's not aiming at him. So one failed tough roll, another one's hit, and then makes his tough roll, and the last one hits criticals, and he fails his tough roll and dies. And there's the board. He ended his turn. Retribution gets 5 points, which gives them a victory.
So, that's another loss by me. If you're in my shoes, what would you have done differently?
I would have gone first and bum rushed both of the. Well, I just bum rushed the middle, and that's what I've done.
The thing is, though, I'm so used to. I don't know why I'm so used to not just running turn 1 when I did a shield march on turn 1. However, he ran turn 1, and he's faster than I am with his speed. He's average speed 6. Yeah, the Iron Fangs are also speed 6.
And you can charge through terrain.
Yes, I can. But it's just something I have to get used to.
You also you focus way too much on. Well, I fed you my Sentinels and my Phoenix, and you just ate them all. Like it was like a fat kid and cupcakes.
Well, I don't know if that's saying anything about Butcher, but
well, he saw a giant cupcake and he went for it and ate it.
Yes, he did. With a massive 20 damage in one swing on feet turn. And let's see. So this one being gone, I don't think would have changed anything.
It would have actually.
I was really hoping
for a crit
with this free strike here. You saw the 9, right? I was hoping for double 4s to hit on the dot and critically knock her down to prevent that from happening.
Yeah,
and
it would have been a big difference if this one would have disappeared and not this one. For the fact that you actually had your Iron Fangs over here and your Kodiak. I completely ignored your Kodiak for the first 2 turns. It didn't do. It actually killed something that I gave you to feed. So in general, I just made your Kodiak useless throughout the game.
It could have also been a difference in deployment too, because I put him over here.
Yeah.
But there's no way of knowing which of the flags would go. That's the entire point of the scenario.
You went with your hunch that this one was not going to disappear, and yep, it was luck. It was just real luck on my side.
What else is anything? On paper, the Dawnguard rifle corps really like Butcher because of his feet turn, and they become weapon master pout 10s that are range 14. But they seem to be dying. They died a lot from the Phoenix's fire, so that's just a matchup thing, really.
And honestly, I really thought you were going to bring the Winter Guard and just have the Death Star with Iron Flesh and stuff.
You mean the traditional thing?
Yeah. That would have been a lot harder to kill.
Yeah. Not really, because you would just go, oh, lol, fire.
True.
Then I would just automatically be losing guys since Joe's Courage of the Forefathers is gone in the maintenance phase, and that's, well, actually it's at the start of the turn and then maintenance phase. So I would lose tough and then just automatically start losing guardsmen. So that would have been no change. And I also was playing some practice games. And I've been told that despite my love for Iron Fangs, they don't really seem to contribute as much as the Winning Guard Infantry do. Mainly because with the Death Star, it's 13 guys with PAL 12s and PAL 10 sprays. It's a lot of firepower.
And rockets.
And also the rockets, yes. To fire those off early game. As we're moving up. And...
1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I didn't do all that, if I didn't roll like I did at the at the second turn at the Spriggan, and didn't take out its lance, it would have done so much more damage. Meaning that it wouldn't have to focus on the Phoenix. It could have been focusing on everything else, like the Discordia, which was completely untouched.
I just remembered something.
What?
He has bulldoze. So I could have just go, no, push you away.
You could have.
Start attacking you.
You could have done that.
This is my first game with the Spriggan, so I wouldn't have.
To tell you the truth, I love the Spriggan. It's just that you reserved them too much. You should have been in the thick of it. Bulldoze, trample, etc., you know?
I could have also just ran at Kaelyssa. It's like, you want to move? You want to move?
You want to move? No.
I'm not gonna let you move.
You could have done that. Well, it was a learning game for all of us, right?
Yep. So that's another battle from the front line, and the switch to incursion was made at the last moment. I was honestly planning on an ammunition run, but since ammunition run was the last battle report, might do a little bit of a change. And also, ammunition run. Don't attack explosive caches in melee. Don't do that. Later, guys. And may your dice roll 6s.